So I'm using Sketchbook Pro on a Windows 10 machine, and this same exact thing works very well on a Surface Pro as well. And then I'm using for my tablet, which is a USB connected tablet, I'm using the Viz tablet, model number WCK-C121. This tablet's several years old, so there's probably a newer model out there. But that's what I'm using. Um, and of course, this is Sketchbook Pro, which is the application. So here, what we're going to show you here today is how to create an animated drawing of this book so that you can use it in presentations. And although you're not a very good artist, perhaps, you can still get good drawings. So let's start in Sketchbook Pro. We have layers, and you notice here we're in layer 2, and I'm going to lock it. That means that I can't modify the layer, right? It's not going to stay on there. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on a new layer because I want to be able to draw. So I also need to have some sort of screen recording software. Right now I'm using Camtasia's Recorder, and that's the program I use for both the studio and the recorder. So you're going to need something to record what you're doing here. Now, because you want your audience, kind of a magic trick here, because you want your audience to see you drawing, they don't want you to see you tracing something that's already there. Much cooler if it looks like you're drawing it. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, what we do basically is although we're recording here because I'm showing you how to do it, in real life at this point, whenever layer 2, right, the book is on the screen, I'm always paused, right? I would have paused the recording so that the audience doesn't see the actual book. So here in a paused state, I would draw out kind of some of those highlighted areas where I want to make this work. Now I don't do all of them, and I'll show you why. Then if I was drawing this, I would hide layer number 2. Now notice I can see my marks on the screen here, and then I would go down to my recorder and hit resume so that it would start recording me, right? So at this point, it's starting to see me draw on the screen. And when we throw this into an animator, into a studio, it's going to speed it up so you won't ever really see anything that's going on. But if you do click on layer 2 while you're recording, they're going to see it. So again, at this point, I go down, I hit pause, right? So I'm in a paused state, and then I return back to the book, and I see, oh, okay, so I'm pretty close here. So I may sketch a little more in there just to make sure, right? All right, and just kind of do this. Now this, by the way, is a book that I took. It's actually a very old book. I took a picture of this book. It's one of my books from college. It's a English book. So, but I love it dearly. So I'm going to draw in some more of these lines. Now again, if I was using this to create a video of me drawing this book, I would be on pause, right? I would be on pause. My recorder would be on pause with the page. I would go up here, I'd hide it, then I'd hit resume on my record. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw this down. I'm going to do that one wrong so that you can see how we can correct things. All right, and so we just kind of sketch in here, draw a few things, draw this down. It's starting to take shape what the book may look like, but some of my proportions are off. So let's go ahead and check. Again, remember I'm on record, but I would go back here and I'd click on pause. Then I would show layer 2. Now, whoops-a-daisy, I'm way off on this line. So what I'll do is I just go in here, all right, and I sketch in the line the way it's supposed to be sketched in. Whoops-a-daisy, I'm having a problem here. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of draw this bad boy in. All right. Okay. And then this guy's a little off too, so I'm going to draw him in. And this side looks pretty good, so that's okay. And then I'm going to take my eraser. Remember, I'm still in my paused mode, so nobody is seeing any of this, right? The last thing they saw was me draw the outline to this, which was sketched which is exactly what they're going to see when I take it off of pause. And then but I'm just kind of cleaning it up a little bit here so that I can take a look. Okay, so I've cleaned that up pretty well. I'm still in pause mode, so I can take it again. I'm still in pause mode. I can take it now. It looks a little bit more like a book, but I want to make sure that I've got this right. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a middle line here and an end line, and I know I start there. So let's go ahead and draw the middle of this book. Again, if I was doing this myself, I would take and hit resume at this point. Now I see my marker there. All right, and I just kind of draw everything in there. Now I know, so then I'd go back, I'd hit pause, go back, draw in my ends wherever they are, right? Okay, and so those are my next things I'm going to hit. Again, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to hit resume, and then I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw. All right, so I'm going to draw in this, and then I'm going to draw along the base here. All right, something like this. Okay, and then I have these lines in here, which are going to kind of be the book pages, right? So I can just kind of, depending upon your comfort level and depending upon your skill, you can go ahead and modify this. And as you see here, it's beginning to look like a book. So I'm going to hit pause again. So I hit pause, and now I look and I check, oops, this line is way off here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in where this line should approximately be, right? Which is right in here. Alrighty. So I just kind of sketch that in, and then I'm going to erase the bad line. I'm going to show you how to clean this up too. This video is a little longer than I'm comfortable with, but let's go ahead and just make this right. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and again, I'm just going to clean up along this edge here. Right, and this is good. And now we basically have a book here. If we go ahead and hide this, I can go ahead and hit resume again, and now I have something that looks very similar to a book, and I can write anything. I can keep this book just open like this, right? And let's go ahead and just add a few lines in here for the pages, right? All right, now that looks pretty good. So some of this over here is a little rough. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little more. Remember, in my recording right now, if I was drawing this as a recording, I would be playing. I would be live, right? And this wouldn't be on the screen either, by the way. So let's go ahead and add one more layer. We add this layer. I'm going to shift over to a pen. Now I'm going to take my drawing and I'm going to trace it. Alrighty. So this is going to be dependent on the look that you want this drawing to have. So if you want it to be a little cleaner, then you're going to want to trace it like I'm doing here. Now you may just want it to be sketched, and that's okay too. So you just kind of go through and do that. Let me pause this and finish it. Okay, now you see that I've drawn in some of the basic characteristics of this book. Just like we hid this layer, right, which is the book itself, here I can go ahead and hide my sketched layer, which will clean up the book and make it a little nicer looking for me. So I can just go ahead now and clean this up. I can go ahead and spray in a little shadow because I think we really want to be a little more shadowed down here. Oops. Now when we do a color, we go ahead and do another layer, and we're going to color this in right at the base here. And notice it's ever so slightly. Now if I apply more pressure, obviously it's going to get darker. And so you can kind of play with that. All right. And then let's go ahead and color outside the line so you can see how to fix that. Okay. So just kind of freely color it in. Give your book a little more depth, right, as far as the look. Now, I want that a little darker, so I'm going to go ahead and go to black and just kind of gently go over the gray. I'll use the gray to kind of fill in a little bit, but use the black to kind of give that shadow look. All right. And then we can do a little bit of shadowing down here, maybe along this edge. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We could write anything in here, and most people looking at this would see that it's a book. But we want to make sure we clean it up. Now, we go to the eraser, and the reason why we have this other layer here is so that we don't erase our book itself. All right, so now I can just go back right to the edge of where the book is and run my eraser. Whoops. And you see how that kind of did that? So you want to just be careful. Kind of just run your pen along, picking up every once in a while in case you have to go back. And then you kind of see how that cleans it up nicely. So you kind of clean it up like this, clean it up like that. Okay, we can go over here, clean this up a little bit. And then if we feel like, well, here's some more down here. So we can do that. Now we can use all types of other things to clean up as well. I'm not going to go into everything about Sketchbook Pro, but we can do it this way. Also, we can use a softening eraser here and just erase a little bit if we think, just kind of soften it up a little bit. So if we feel like this is maybe a little bit too much, we can bring it back down. We have smudge brushes. We can do all kinds of other work. So you can see there, and that's the final product. Then when I'm done, I hit stop.